Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Could the unborn finally be treated as persons? They may be soon in Georgia. Hi, this is Sean Akers, Dean of the Helms School of Government, in for Matt Staver today. Today we've got some very exciting news to discuss with you. Voters in 46 counties in the state of Georgia have overwhelmingly cast a non-binding vote in favor of an amendment to the Georgia state constitution supporting the pro-life Personhood Amendment. Many of you know that this is an action taken by the people of Georgia to finally recognize what common sense has told us and what the Bible has told us all along, that God creates life, that He knows you when He puts you together in your mother's womb, and that you become a person when God says you become a person, not when the state says that you become a person. Well, with the counties averaging 75% approval, every single county that presented the amendment passed it. Now, while most of these votes were taken on a Republican primary, a Democratic ballot in Butts County also asked the question, and it approved the amendment by 71%. This shows that regardless of political affiliation, or even political ideology, where people tend to come down on the Republican-Democrat question, in Georgia at least, they all seem to find some things that trump politics. One of those that is so important to us is this issue, that when life begins, when those unborn children are going to be protected as persons under the Constitution. Well, the United States Constitution, or at least the court's interpretation of it so far, has some real catching up to do, but it is so exciting to see the state of Georgia taking a lead alongside of other states like Mississippi in this. You see, one of the beautiful things that a federalist system allows us to do is have the states take on questions before the federal government reaches them and provide the federal government with answers to those questions before it gets there. For instance, if the federal government doesn't know what really works with education, maybe it can stand back for a little bit and watch how the states experiment with this education plan or that. Does it work better to have education, public education through the entire summer or not? Well, watch a state that does it, watch a state that doesn't, see whose grades rise. If you're not sure whether handing out needles is a great way to stop drug use or limit drug use, maybe you want to watch a state that approaches it one way and a state that approaches it the other and see how it comes out. The states are a great testing ground for many things that the federal government will have to address. Well, in this case, this is one of the most, maybe the most fundamental question that we face in the 21st century is who is and who is not a person. Who, when we say we the people, are we talking about? When we say that we are all created equal and that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, who are we talking about that has this right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Because quite frankly, the right to liberty and pursuit of happiness don't mean much if you don't have the right to life. So this is the threshold fundamental question. And for years in this country, since at least the 60s, but most definitely since the all too infamous case of Roe v. Wade, we have grappled with the question of whether this boundary line between being in the womb and out of the womb is something that disqualifies one from being a person and being granted the constitutional rights attained by all persons. Well, this again is one of those places that the states can step up, and we've had at least two. We've got Mississippi and now we have Georgia. And most appropriate here, not just the state of Georgia, but the people of the state of Georgia. This is not some faction. This is not some small interest group who's pushing and lobbying to try to make something happen. The voice that we just heard in these extremely high percentages in both Democratic and Republican voting blocks is that the people of Georgia overwhelmingly recognize and would have their Constitution reflect that unborn children are entitled to be treated as persons with all the rights that are apparent to that. Georgia is the first state in the nation where voters have said yes to the personhood question. Georgia Right to Life and other pro-lifers plan to lobby the Georgia legislature to place a constitutional amendment on the general election ballot as early as 2012. Dan Becker, the president of the Georgia Right to Life, commented on this. He recently said there is no question that the people of Georgia would pass a personhood amendment. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is how close Georgia is. The people have already spoken. For those who hold seats in the Georgia legislature, you can wipe the sweat off your brow politically because you know how your people think. In vast numbers, 71% of the Democrats voting in Butts County told you how they think. Huge numbers in the 80s, in the 80 percentile range or so of Republican districts have told you how they think. There aren't going to be poor political ramifications for you standing up and doing the right thing. The people of Georgia are asking you. They are asking you to put into law what they have voted on and given you their minds on. If you draft it, they will vote. If you will put into a piece of legislation, an amendment for the Georgia Constitution, the people voting there have indicated that they'll support that. It needs to be on the election ballot in 2012. Dan Becker goes on to say that the ball is now in the legislature's hands to allow the people a voice on the most pressing human rights issue of the 21st century. Mississippi has already had the question on the 2011 ballot following a successful petition drive there. Now, Matt Staver, the founder of Liberty Counsel, commented on it this way. He said that the right to life is the right of all rights. The right to property, speech, or religion means nothing to a corpse. Without the right to life, all other rights are illusory. We must restore a culture of life in America. Georgia voters have taken a step in the right direction. I call upon the Georgia legislature to place personhood on the ballot and let the people vote. Now, whether you're in Georgia or not, this issue affects you. You know, it used to be that we said that all politics is local. Well, now, in the current state of things, all politics is national because the state that the step that Georgia takes next will very likely have an impact on the way that the United States as a whole pushes it. This could quite literally open the floodgates of states saying, you know what, this is common sense and we're going to take care of it on our ballots and treat these unborn children, as people in the eyes of the law in our state. So now is the time for you to exercise the sovereign duty that God has given you as citizens of Georgia, if you happen to be one, and citizens of the United States, members of that beautiful class of we the people, if you're not a member of the Georgia population. Contact the members of the Georgia legislature. Let them know that you are not only behind this, but you are passionately behind this, and that you are going to speak to the top of your lungs, both celebrating those who would celebrate life and opposing those who would oppose life. Let them know that you're behind this amendment and that they are on safe political ground in doing what we all know is right, supporting the protection and the personhood and the rights of people, even though they haven't quite been born yet. This is something that science bears out. It's something that the soul bears out. It's one of those things that Professor Budashevsky would tell us is something that you can't not know. It's very simply a fact of life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we encourage you to, one, go to Liberty Counsel's website. It's lc.org, so you can read more about this issue. We have a press release there and some things that will help arm you to start your discussions with your state legislature. And while you're there, take a look at the rest of the things that we are involved in. You'll see, as usual, we're fighting the front on many places, and ask you to continue to support us in very particular ways. One, keep us in your prayers. It is only the foolish man who thinks he can do these things without God's guidance. We don't approach anything that way, so we ask you to keep us in your prayers. We also ask you to be the hands and feet of your Maker, and call us at 1-800-671-1776 and consider supporting us financially as we continue to fight these fights. Again, you can find us on the web at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.